A lily's perfume filled the whole cab of Mike Harper's sedan so thick he could practically taste spring every time he sucked in a breath. He'd spent half an hour at the florist hunting for the exact snow-white blooms his wife Grace lived for, checking every petal the way a jeweler checks diamonds. 6 straight weeks on the road for the energy company. Too many nights of hotel coffee and conference calls were finally behind him. He was humming classic rock like a high school kid on the way to prom. With Grace, every welcome home kiss felt like that very first stolen one behind the bleachers. All butterflies and shaky knees. At their apartment door, he balanced the huge bouquet against his ribs, rang the bell just in case she was close, and dug for his keys. No footsteps inside. Silence rolled out to meet him. No jazz from the kitchen speaker. No faint vanilla candle. No Grace. Swing and a miss. He sighed, setting the vase on the entry table. He thumbed her number. Out of service, the robotic voice chirped. Okay, plan B. Best friend Tina almost always had dibs on Grace when he was gone. Probably they were binging reality shows and trash-talking markdown fashion. He spun the SUV across town, rehearsing a grand goddess speech in his head. Tina's street smelled like fresh-cut grass and charcoal. As Mike locked up, he spotted her rounding the corner, grocery sacks wall to elbow. "Mike, look who's back in civilization," she laughed. He grabbed the bags. She explained that Grace was inside, babysitting a contractor. Tina was swapping a kitchen door when corporate summoned her last minute. Now she'd returned with dinner supplies. "We'll whip up something sinful," she invited. Upstairs, surprise punched them both. The brand new door lay flat on the floor, exactly where the installer had dropped it. Untouched, screws scattered like confetti. From the master bedroom, voices, low, intimate, definitely not HGTV instructions. Mike's pulse sprinted. He shoved the door wide. There, tangled on the quilt, sat Grace in nothing but a shocked expression, and a stranger whose face Mike barely registered. Clothes ballooning around his ankles. Time cracked. Grace sprang up, snatched at her blouse. Her lover scrambled into jeans. Neither spoke. They shot past Mike into the hall, their sneakers echoing down the stairwell. Only after the building door slammed did Mike's body tell him it might be okay to breathe. His knees gave. He slid against the wall, pain carving lines into his face. Tina crouched, glass of water shaking in her hand. "Did you know?" The words sounded rusty even to him. "Mike, no. I swear." Her voice barely cleared a whisper. "I didn't even realize that was Wade Parker." Remember him? Grade school hotshot. Grace swore she hated him. They had some ancient drama. Mike stared. "Drama she never told you?" Tina's eyes widened. "Junior year. Pregnancy. He bailed. She got an abortion. Serious complications. Doctor said kids were off the table forever." Grace had always told him, "Just not yet, honey. Let's wait till the timing's perfect." Every hope he'd banked on, a nursery, bedtime stories, cracked like a windshield in his chest. He drove home floating outside his own body, half expecting to find Grace pacing the kitchen, rehearsing apologies. Instead, the closet doors hung open like yawning mouths. A note was taped dead center on the hallway mirror. "I'm leaving for good. I only ever loved Wade. Forgive me if you can." His reflection, 35, dark hair, road trip stubble, now with bruise-colored hollows under the eyes, stared back in mute grief. He flipped the light off. Couldn't bear the sight of either version of himself. 3 empty evenings later, the condo walls felt too loud. On impulse, he drove back to Tina's. For what, exactly? Comfort? Advice? She answered the door in an absurd polka dot apron, flower on her cheek, laughing before she even spoke. "Catch me wrestling this dough, Harper. Either join the war or grab a chair." The kitchen smelled of browning beef and garlic. Dough circles lined the counter like silver dollars. For the first time since Heartbreak sucker punched him, Mike laughed, really laughed, and slapped filling into dumplings the way his grandma once taught him. Tea cooling between them. He finally said the thing that brought him there. "Help me get her back." No yelling, no blame. Just, life feels wrong without her. Tenderness flickered across Tina's face. "I'll call her," she promised, squeezing his hand. That night, he slept the unhindered sleep of a kid at summer camp. Grace took the call, but was miles away. Literal miles. Off on some impulsive road trip with Wade, due back in a week. At Tina's urging, she agreed to meet Mike when she returned. Mike thanked Tina. "What are you doing for fun?" he asked. "Bike rentals just opened at River Park," she said. "Going to shake off the apartment walls." "Wait for me," he blurted, scared of his own four walls. They pedaled under cotton ball clouds, sharing earbuds, her laughter bouncing across the water. Lunch was burgers at a dockside shack, followed by a spontaneous detour to a pop-up farmer's market. Conversation roamed. Her childhood hikes in the Rockies, his obsession with fixing clunky thrift store bikes, favorite guilty pleasure songs. He dropped her home, then joked about a documentary playing downtown. All mountain trails and cycling nerds. "Your vibe now." She grinned. "Fine, but let me clean up this helmet hair." Days began tilting toward each other like magnets. Chess in the park. Sunset picnics with grocery store sushi. Endless text threads about which Marvel movie had the worst villain. Tina possessed zero affectation. No designer pout. No strategic silence. Just warmth and bright curiosity that soaked into Mike's cracks. She called him out when he brooded, mocked his dad jokes, learned to beat him at speed chess. He taught her how to change a flat. She taught him the art of the perfect pie crust. Weeks slipped past disguised as minutes. One humid night, her heels snapped on uneven pavement. Without thinking, he scooped her bridal style. "Third floor delivery," he joked. She protested, then melted. He carried her across the threshold, the hallway lamp painting soft gold on her hair. Somewhere between laughter and the hush of shared breath, restraint gave way. The night was a storm they both welcomed. Two lonely souls finding harbor. Morning light filtered over tangled limbs and coffee-colored sheets. Mike's heart felt strangely light. Not treacherous. He brewed coffee, memorized the curve of Tina's sleepy smile, allowed himself, for the first time, to imagine tomorrow and see her in it. That same afternoon, Grace came back. Mike was stepping out of the shower, humming some tune Tina had teased him with, when he saw Grace standing in the living room, suitcase at her feet, eyes rimmed in exhaustion. She crossed the carpet and rested her palms on his shoulders. "Mike, I lost my mind. Wade's gone back to California. I can't breathe without you. You want me to crawl? Fine." Her tears slid across trembling lips. "I will spend my whole life making this right. Just don't shut the door." She leaned in, soft, familiar fragrance of lily shampoo detonating nostalgia. For a heartbeat, he was two people. The man who had built a life around this woman, and the man reborn in the laughter of another. His phone buzzed. "Tina," he answered. "I was starting to worry," she said, voice shy. I can't keep it secret anymore. Mike, we're having a baby." Time buckled. Joy punched him so hard his knees nearly buckled. Harder than they had in Tina's kitchen. "Are you sure?" he whispered. "Blood test sure," she whispered back. Mike drew a long breath. "You just made me the happiest man on earth. Wait for me." He hung up, chest ringing like church bells. Grace searched his face. "Tina?" she asked, fear sharpening her tone. "Grace," he said gently, fastening the buttons of her blouse the way he used to after Sunday naps. "I love the memories we made. But the future? That belongs to someone who didn't run when the storm hit." He handed her the purse she dropped. "I'm glad you found what you needed." "I have too." Her mouth formed a question he never heard. He was already locking the door, sprinting down 3 flights, feeling lighter than air, and more terrified than any offshore rig ever made him feel. Outside, the lilies on the dashboard were wilted, but he didn't care. He pointed the car toward Tina's street, heart hammering a brand new rhythm. Father-to-be, partner by choice, man finally brave enough to trust where the road curved next.